The massive Imperial flagship cut through space like a knife through dark cloth, leading a fleet of 50 warships toward the blue planet. Lord Marcus stood on the bridge, his golden uniform reflecting the light of distant stars. He smiled as he watched the seemingly primitive world grow larger on the main screen. "Another easy conquest for the Empire," he said to his crew. "Scanners show basic satellite technology, primitive space stations, and no defensive fleet. This will be the quickest first contact in Imperial history." But Lord Marcus didn't know that deep beneath Earth's surface, in a vast underground command center, Admiral James was already watching the Empire's approach. Hundreds of hidden sensors, disguised as space debris, had tracked the Imperial fleet since it entered the solar system. "They're right where we want them," Admiral James said, his weathered face illuminated by the blue glow of monitoring screens. "Send the warning message." A young officer pressed a button, and a simple text message appeared on every screen in the Imperial fleet. "This system is restricted. Leave immediately." The bridge of the Imperial flagship erupted in laughter. Lord Marcus shook his head, amused by the primitive civilization's attempt at resistance. "Send them our standard first contact message. Let them know the glory of joining the Empire." "My lord," his communication officer said. "They're responding with just a countdown. 10, 9, 8. "Ignore it," Lord Marcus ordered. "Continue approach. Prepare the landing ships. 7, 6, 5. "My lord, should we raise shields?" a nervous officer asked. 4, 3, 2. "Don't be ridiculous. Their technology is centuries behind ours. What could they possibly?" 1. Suddenly, every light on every Imperial ship went dark. The mighty engines fell silent. Emergency systems failed to activate. The entire fleet hung motionless in space, dead in the water. Lord Marcus stood in the darkness of his bridge, his earlier confidence replaced by cold fear. A new message appeared on their partially functioning screens. "We warned you." From the shadows of Earth's moon emerged dozens of sleek, dark vessels. They moved without any visible propulsion, silent and graceful as shadows. Each ship extended energy tethers, attaching themselves to the disabled Imperial vessels. Admiral James watched the operation from his command center. "Begin the TOW. Take them to the edge of Imperial space. Make sure our message is clear." The Earth ships pulled the Imperial fleet through space like a chain of broken toys. Inside the Imperial flagship, Lord Marcus and his crew could only watch helplessly as they were dragged away from their target. "Impossible," Lord Marcus whispered. "Their planet showed no signs of this technology. How could we have been so wrong?" After 3 days of travel, the Earth ships reached the border of Imperial space. They released the Imperial fleet, but not before uploading one final message to their computers. "The Earth system is off-limits to the Galactic Empire. We have watched your expansion. We have seen how you treat developing worlds. We will not allow it here. This was a warning. There will not be another. P.S. Your ships will regain power in 24 hours. Have a safe trip home." When Lord Marcus finally limped his fleet back to Imperial space, he knew his career was over. But more importantly, he knew the Empire had made a terrible mistake. They had tried to invade a world that wasn't primitive at all. It was just better at hiding its strength than anyone had imagined. In his underground command center, Admiral James looked at the latest reports. The Empire's humiliation was already spreading across the galaxy. Earth's message was clear. This was one planet the Empire couldn't bully. "Send word to the Council," he ordered. "Phase 1 is complete. The Empire took the bait. Now they'll either be smart and stay away or foolish and try again with a bigger fleet." He smiled slightly. "Either way, we're ready." The officer nodded, sending the message through quantum channels that the Empire didn't even know existed. Earth had spent centuries preparing for this moment, and now the game had finally begun. The Grand Council chamber of the Galactic Empire buzzed with angry voices. 50 council members from different star systems argued as they watched the replay of Earth's humiliation of their fleet. The massive Golden Hall, usually a place of order and ceremony, had turned into a storm of wounded pride and demands for revenge. High Commander Wilson slammed his fist on the polished black table. This is unacceptable. A single primitive world doesn't just defeat our ships. They tow them away like broken toys. Lord Marcus stood in the center of the chamber, his once proud golden uniform now stripped of its medals. His face was pale, but he kept his chin high as he faced the council's anger. "Tell us again," Commander Wilson demanded. "How did they hide their true technology from our scanners?" "They showed us exactly what we expected to see," Lord Marcus explained. "Old satellites, basic space stations, primitive radio signals. But it was all fake, a perfect mask hiding their real capabilities." A quiet voice spoke up from the shadows. It was Master Spy Thomas, the Empire's head of intelligence. He stepped into the light, holding a data tablet. "We've been blind," he said. "For centuries, we thought Earth was just another developing world. But look at this." He waved his hand, and the chamber's holographic display filled with images. They showed Earth at different points in history, always appearing to be just developing spaceflight, never seeming to advance. "The same level of technology, shown to us year after year," Thomas continued. "Never advancing, never falling behind. Perfect consistency. Too perfect. They've been watching us, studying us, while pretending to be primitive. And we fell for it." The council chamber fell silent as the truth sank in. Their pride hadn't just been wounded, they'd been outsmarted for centuries. "Our deep space probes found something else," Thomas added. "Earth has been launching small, undetectable observation posts throughout the galaxy. They've witnessed every invasion, every conquest, every time we've stripped resources from a developing world. They know everything about us." Commander Wilson's face turned red with rage. "Then we hit them with everything. Send the entire Imperial fleet." "No." The voice was quiet but firm. Everyone turned to look at Senior Counselor Reed, the oldest member of the Imperial Council. He stood slowly, his ancient eyes sharp with wisdom. "Think carefully about what we've learned. Earth could have destroyed our ships. Instead, they chose to disable them and send them home. They're showing restraint and warning us." "Are you suggesting we do nothing?" Wilson demanded. "I'm suggesting we consider the possibility that we're not the strongest power in the galaxy anymore," Reed answered. "Earth has technology we can't detect, can't understand, and can't counter. They've been preparing for centuries while we grew complacent." The chamber erupted in arguments again. Half the council demanded immediate military action. The other half urged caution, warning that they didn't know enough about Earth's true capabilities. In the midst of the chaos, Thomas quietly added one more piece of information. "We've detected quantum communication signals from Earth reaching out to various worlds under our control. They're talking to our subject planets, and those planets are listening." The implications hit the council like a cold wave. This wasn't just about one planet refusing to join the Empire. Earth was challenging their entire system of control. As the council argued, a message arrived from Earth. It was short, simple, and appeared simultaneously on every communication device in the Imperial capital. "Your empire is built on the suffering of developing worlds. This ends now. Stay away from Earth, or we will actively oppose your expansion. Choose wisely." The council stared at the message in silence. For the first time in centuries, the Galactic Empire faced an enemy it couldn't simply overwhelm with brute force. And deep in their hearts, they knew this was only the beginning. The Imperial spy ship drifted at the edge of the solar system, its stealth systems running at full power. The crew thought they were invisible to Earth's defenses. They were wrong. In his underground command center, Admiral James watched their every move. He turned to his team and nodded. "It's time to show them what they're really dealing with. Drop the mask." All across Earth, something remarkable began to happen. The fake old satellites flickered and vanished, revealing sleek orbital platforms beneath their holographic disguises. The primitive space stations transformed, their true forms emerging like butterflies from cocoons. The spy ship's sensors lit up with hundreds, then thousands of new contacts. The crew stared in shock as Earth's real face was revealed. "Impossible," whispered the Imperial captain, watching his displays overflow with data. The entire planet, it was all fake. The simple cities on Earth's surface shimmered and changed. Vast sections of ground slid open, revealing massive underground complexes. Gleaming towers of advanced materials rose from hidden bases. The entire planet had been disguised under the biggest holographic screen ever created. But the real surprise lay in orbit. Dozens of defense platforms, each the size of a small moon, decloaked around Earth. They weren't the crude weapons the Empire used. These were smooth, dark shapes that seemed to bend light around them, built with technology the Empire couldn't even understand. Admiral James smiled as he watched the Imperial spy ship's crew panic. "Send them the technical package," he ordered. "Let them see exactly what they're facing." The spy ship's computers were suddenly flooded with information about Earth's true technology. They learned that humans had mastered quantum engineering centuries ago, developing power sources that made Imperial technology look like children's toys. Earth's weapons didn't rely on simple lasers or plasma. They manipulated the fabric of space itself. The data showed massive underground cities where billions of humans lived in comfort, protected by energy shields that could withstand any Imperial weapon. Automated factories that could produce advanced technology faster than entire Imperial production planets. AI systems that managed global defense networks with perfect efficiency. Most importantly, Admiral James said to his staff, "Show them our ships." From hidden bases on the Moon and Mars, Earth's real fleet emerged. The ships were unlike anything the Empire had ever seen. They had no visible engines, no weapon ports, no antennae. They moved like living things, surrounded by fields of quantum energy that could tear apart Imperial ships without firing a shot. The Imperial spy ship tried to send an emergency message home, but Earth let them. In fact, Earth amplified their signal, making sure every Imperial world would see the truth. On the main Imperial throne world, the Council watched in horror as the data poured in. Earth hadn't just been hiding. It had been advancing far beyond the Empire's capabilities. While Imperial ships still used basic fusion power, Earth had mastered zero-point energy. While Imperial computers used simple AI, Earth's systems were true artificial intelligences that worked in perfect harmony with their human creators. "We found something else in their data," an Imperial scientist reported, his voice shaking. "They've built a defensive network throughout their entire solar system. Quantum-linked satellites that can instantly teleport threats away. Automated defense platforms that can predict and counter any attack before it happens. And something they call the Sol Shield, a prototype system that could completely cut off their solar system from the rest of space if needed." Commander Wilson, who had been so eager for war, sat in stunned silence. They had thought they were dealing with a primitive world. Instead, they had found a civilization that had quietly surpassed them in every way. Back on Earth, Admiral James received word that the first Imperial invasion fleet was already on its way, launched before the spy ship's report reached them. "Perfect timing," he said. "Send word to all stations. Defensive pattern Alpha. Let's show them exactly why Earth has been marked as entry forbidden." As Earth's true power was revealed, the real test was about to begin. The Empire was about to learn the hard way that some doors should stay closed, and some warnings should be heeded. The Imperial invasion fleet was the largest ever assembled in galactic history. 5,000 warships filled space like a swarm of angry hornets, their engines burning bright against the darkness. At their center, the new Imperial flagship Victory carried Commander Wilson himself. "This time, we'll show them real power," Wilson said, standing proud on his bridge. "No more games. No more warnings. Earth will fall." But as the fleet approached Jupiter's orbit, Admiral James was already 3 steps ahead. In Earth's command center, he watched the invasion force with calm eyes. "Begin defense pattern Alpha," he ordered. "Let's make this quick and clean." The first surprise came at Jupiter. Hundreds of Earth's automated defense platforms, hidden within the gas giant's storms, suddenly activated. They rose from the clouds like dark angels, their quantum fields already spinning up. "Enemy vessels detected," Wilson's tactical officer reported. "They're launching from Jupiter." "Fire all weapons," Wilson commanded. "Destroy them." The Imperial fleet unleashed a storm of laser fire and plasma torpedoes. But their weapons passed harmlessly through the Earth platforms, which seemed to exist halfway between normal space and somewhere else. "Our weapons aren't having any effect," the tactical officer shouted. "There." Before he could finish, the defense platforms activated their quantum fields. In an instant, half of the Imperial fleet found their weapons systems completely disabled, shut down by forces they couldn't understand. Wilson watched in horror as 1,000 of his ships went dark, but he still had 4,000 more. "Press forward," he ordered. "They can't stop us all." The fleet pushed on, reaching Saturn's rings. That's when the second wave of Earth's defenses revealed themselves. The ice and rock of Saturn's rings came alive, each piece a tiny automated drone. Millions of them swarmed the Imperial ships, not attacking, but attaching themselves to their hulls. "What are they doing?" Wilson demanded. He got his answer moments later. The drones activated, and suddenly 2,000 more Imperial ships found themselves teleported back to Empire space, removed from the battle in the blink of an eye. Now down to just 2,000 ships, Wilson's fleet approached Mars. His hands gripped his command chair tight. "We still have enough ships, tow." He never finished the sentence. From Mars rose Earth's real fleet, just 20 ships, each one moving with impossible grace. They didn't attack. They didn't fire weapons. They simply extended their quantum fields, creating a web of energy that caught the remaining Imperial ships like flies in a spider's web. "This is Admiral James of Earth Defense Command," a calm voice said over every Imperial communication channel. "Your ships are now held in our quantum suspension field. You have 2 choices: surrender and be sent home, or resist and be sent home anyway. The only difference is how much damage your ships sustain in the process." Wilson stood from his chair, his face red with rage. "We are the Imperial fleet. We do not surrender." With a gesture, Admiral James had Wilson teleported directly to Earth's command center. The Imperial commander found himself standing in front of the man who had just defeated his entire fleet without firing a single shot. "Commander Wilson," James said kindly, offering him a cup of coffee. "Let's talk about why you're really here. Is it for the Empire, or is it because you're afraid?" Wilson stared at the coffee, then at James. "Afraid. Afraid that the Empire isn't the supreme power anymore. Afraid that everything you believed about your technological superiority was wrong. Afraid of change." Outside, Earth's ships began carefully towing the Imperial fleet back toward Empire space. Not a single shot had been fired. Not one life had been lost. Earth had won without destruction, without death, simply by being so far advanced that resistance was pointless. Wilson sank into a chair, finally understanding. The Empire hadn't just lost a battle. They had lost their place as the galaxy's supreme power, and they had lost it to a world that had been quietly preparing for this moment for centuries. "The real question," Admiral James said, "is what happens next. Are you ready to talk about the future?" News of the Empire's defeat spread across the galaxy faster than light itself. On 1,000 worlds, people watched the recordings of Earth's victory. They saw how the mighty Imperial fleet had been defeated without a single shot fired, how Earth's technology had made the Empire's greatest weapons look like toys. In the Imperial Palace, chaos ruled. The Grand Council chamber, once a place of order, now echoed with shouts and accusations. Half the council members demanded another attack on Earth, while others called for immediate peace talks. "We lost 5,000 ships," one counselor shouted. 5,000 ships, and they didn't even fight back. They just sent them home. Senior Counselor Reed watched the arguing with tired eyes. He noticed something nobody else had seen yet. Representatives from conquered worlds were no longer bowing their heads in fear. They were watching, thinking, planning. Then the broadcasts began. Earth started sending messages to every world in the Empire. Not threats or demands, but simple truth. They showed recordings from their centuries of observation. Evidence of imperial corruption, of worlds stripped of resources, of species pushed into poverty while the Empire grew rich. On the desert world of Proxima II, the native people watched recordings of how the Empire had secretly poisoned their water sources to make them dependent on imperial supplies. In the Centauri system, 3 planets learned how the Empire had deliberately slowed their technological development, keeping them weak and controllable. "Stop those broadcasts," Commander Wilson demanded from his new position as Imperial Security Chief. But they couldn't. Earth's quantum communication network was beyond their ability to block. Then came the declarations. The Proxima system declares its independence from the Empire. The Centauri Alliance withdraws from Imperial control. The Outer Rim worlds announced their separation from Imperial authority. One by one, system after system began breaking away. Not with violence or rebellion, but with simple declarations backed by Earth's promise of protection. In a secret meeting room deep in the Imperial Palace, the Empire's top leaders gathered to face reality. "We've lost 30% of our territory," Wilson reported, his voice heavy. "Not to violence, not to war, but to simple words." Earth showed them the truth, and they walked away. "Can we stop this?" someone asked. "How?" Wilson replied. "Earth's quantum fields protect these worlds now. The same technology that defeated our fleet guards their independence. We can't fight technology we don't understand." Senior Counselor Reed finally spoke up. "Perhaps we shouldn't try to stop it. Perhaps this is the change we needed." All eyes turned to him. "For centuries, we ruled through force and fear," Reed continued. "We thought that made us strong. But Earth showed us a different kind of strength. They could have destroyed our fleet. Instead, they sent it home. They could have exposed our secrets violently. Instead, they simply showed the truth." As if on cue, a new message arrived from Earth. It appeared on every screen in the palace. "The old Empire is ending. You can fight this change and fall, or embrace it and transform. Earth offers you the same choice we offer all worlds. Join us as equals in building a better galaxy, or continue alone on your path of destruction. You have one standard week to decide." In the council chamber, the argument started again. But this time, they were different. Younger council members spoke of reform, of a new way forward. Older members who had grown rich from Empire corruption found themselves facing questions they couldn't answer. On 1,000 worlds, people waited to see what the Empire would choose. Would they accept the new reality, or try one last, desperate fight against the power that had so easily defeated them? And on Earth, Admiral James watched it all unfold exactly as planned. Phase 3 was complete. Now came the hard part, helping a galaxy heal from centuries of imperial rule. 1 week after Earth's ultimatum, representatives from every major world in the galaxy gathered in a massive space station near Jupiter. The station, hidden for centuries, was Earth's true diplomatic center. Its great meeting hall could hold thousands, and today it was full. Admiral James stood on the central platform, facing the gathered representatives. Former imperial worlds sat next to their one-time rulers, all waiting to hear Earth's explanation for centuries of secrecy. 200 years ago, James began, his voice carrying to every corner of the hall. Humanity made a discovery. We found the Empire's first probe in our system, watching us. But instead of revealing ourselves, we chose to watch back. He waved his hand, and the hall's holographic system activated, showing Earth's history. We saw how the Empire treated developing worlds, how they crushed some with force, corrupted others with false gifts, and kept the rest weak through controlled technology. So we made a choice: to hide, to learn, and to prepare. The images showed Earth's transformation, how they built their underground cities, developed quantum technology, and created their planetary disguise. But we didn't do this just to protect ourselves, James continued. We did it to protect everyone. Every developing world, every species reaching for the stars. We knew that one day we would have to stop the Empire's expansion. Commander Wilson stood up from his seat among the Imperial delegation. Why? He demanded. Why not just protect Earth? Why care about other worlds? James smiled. Because that's what humans do. We look at something wrong, and we try to fix it. We see someone being bullied, and we step in. 200 years ago, we looked at the galaxy and saw a bully. So we prepared to stop it. The hall erupted in discussion as James revealed more. Earth had been secretly helping developing worlds for decades. They had hidden advanced technology on planets under Imperial control, waiting for the right moment. They had built the quantum communication network that now connected free worlds. Look at your own worlds, James said. Those ancient ruins you couldn't explain. Hidden bunkers full of advanced technology. We put them there, protected by quantum fields, waiting for you to be free to use them. The representatives from newly independent worlds suddenly understood why they had found mysterious technological gifts on their planets right after declaring independence. Earth didn't just prepare to defend itself, James explained. We prepared to help everyone defend themselves. Every quantum shield protecting your worlds today. Built by Earth, hidden until you needed it. Every advanced AI system that suddenly activated on your planet. Placed there by us, waiting for this moment. The hall fell silent as the full scale of Earth's plan became clear. They hadn't just outthought the Empire. They had spent centuries preparing to help every world become strong enough to be truly free. But now comes the hard part, James said. Freedom isn't just about breaking away from the Empire. It's about building something better. Earth's technology can protect you, but we won't rule you. Each world must choose its own path. He turned to the Imperial delegation. Even the Empire's worlds. We offer you the same protection, the same technology, the same chance to build something new. Not as rulers, but as equals. From his seat, Senior Counselor Reed slowly stood. You're not just offering independence, he said, finally understanding. You're offering a completely new way for civilizations to grow. No conquest, no suppression. Just helping each other. Exactly, James replied. Earth spent centuries hiding its strength. Now we'll spend centuries teaching others to build their own. That's why we waited so long, prepared so carefully. Because changing an empire is easy. Changing how people think about power, that's the real challenge. As the delegates discussed Earth's revelation, a new message appeared above the hall. The age of empires is over. The age of cooperation begins. Who will join us? One by one, worlds that had been enemies for centuries began to raise their hands. Even some imperial worlds joined them. Earth's greatest victory wasn't defeating the Empire's fleet. It was showing the galaxy a better way forward. 1 year after Earth's great revelation, the galaxy had changed more than it had in the previous 1,000 years. The massive Imperial Palace, once a symbol of absolute power, now served as the meeting place for the new Galactic Council. Representatives from hundreds of worlds, both former imperial and newly independent, gathered to sign the Sol Accords. Admiral James stood at the ceremony, watching as Senior Counselor Reed, now first speaker of the reformed empire, signed the historic document. The empire would continue to exist, but as a constitutional federation of willing members, not a force of conquest. The Sol Accords are more than just a peace treaty, Reed announced to the gathered delegates. They are a promise that no advanced civilization will ever again suppress a developing one. That knowledge will be shared, not hoarded. That strength will be used to protect, not dominate. Commander Wilson, who had once led the fleet against Earth, now served as head of the new Federation Defense Force. He approached James after the ceremony. "You know what still amazes me," Wilson said, looking out at the stars through the palace's crystal dome. "Earth could have conquered us all. Your technology, your preparation, you could have ruled the galaxy. Instead, you chose to teach us." James smiled. "Ruling isn't the same as leading. Earth didn't want subjects. We wanted partners." Across the galaxy, the changes were already visible. Earth's hidden caches of technology were being opened on every world, but only as each civilization proved ready to use them responsibly. The quantum communication network now connected all worlds, allowing free exchange of knowledge and culture. On younger worlds, Earth's protection allowed new species to develop without fear of exploitation. When a civilization reached the stars, they found not conquest or submission waiting for them, but guidance and support. The Imperial fleet, once a symbol of oppression, was transformed. The ships were upgraded with Earth's quantum technology, but now they protected trade routes and responded to calls for aid. Former Imperial officers worked alongside those they had once tried to conquer, learning that cooperation brought greater rewards than conquest. In Earth's underground command center, Admiral James met with his staff one last time before the facility would be converted into a museum. "Final report," his assistant said. "The last of the hidden quantum shields are active. Every developing world in known space is now protected. The Empire's forced labor camps are all closed. Former Imperial worlds have begun sharing their resources with planets they once exploited." "And the Sol shield?" James asked. "No longer needed," she replied with a smile. "Earth doesn't need to hide anymore." Above them, Earth's surface had changed completely. The fake primitive cities were gone, replaced by the true face of human civilization. Gleaming towers of advanced materials reached to the sky, their quantum fields glowing softly in the sunlight. Space elevators connected the ground to orbital stations, where ships from across the galaxy now docked freely. In orbit, Earth's defense platforms remained, but their purpose had changed. Now they served as teaching centers, where representatives from other worlds learned to build and maintain their own protective systems. "There's one more thing," the assistant added. "We're receiving signals from beyond known space. New civilizations, new empires. Some of them make the old empire look primitive." James nodded. "Send them the standard message. Welcome to protected space. Earth stands ready to assist your peaceful development." "And if they're not peaceful?" James looked at the holographic display showing the galaxy, now filled with worlds that had chosen to build together rather than conquer. "Then they'll learn the same lesson the Empire did. Earth banned them from entering this space, not because we were weak, but because we were strong enough to protect everyone. The age of empires is over. The age of guardians has begun." As the sun set on Earth's first year as a known power, thousands of worlds celebrated their freedom. The empire that had ruled through fear was transformed into a federation that thrived through cooperation. And Earth, the world that had hidden its strength for so long, now stood revealed as what it had always meant to be, not a conqueror, not a ruler, but a teacher and protector of all those reaching for the stars. In the end, Earth hadn't just banned an empire. They had changed the very meaning of power in the galaxy.